out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey, happy Monday. This is Secondary Assist on the Dr. Roto Media Network, your finest NHL DFS podcast. I'm Burry Mark, and with me always is the Kick Man. How's it going, sir?
It's going very good. It's nice to be back after a couple-week layoff here. Talk about some hockey.
So how's the weather there in Minnesota? Because I'm like freezing here in Michigan.
Well, I'm actually in Illinois.
Oh, Illinois, sorry.
I'm just a huge Minnesota fan, but yeah, it's cold here too.
Yeah.
But it snowed in Minnesota yesterday. I had pictures from my brother in his backyard, and there was snow up there.
All right, so it's been a couple weeks since we've gotten on here. We've been doing articles and everything on Dr. Roto. How have you been doing? Have you had any success the last couple of weeks?
I can't say that I've been lit up any night. I've had maybe a couple decent nights, but nothing to talk about. That's for certain.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a slump right now too. It's probably been about 10 days since I've won anything significant. So
yeah, it's about the same here.
Well, see, it coincides with the fact that we didn't do the podcast and discuss this stuff. So there we go.
Exactly. That always helps too.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. Let's start with tomorrow's 9-game slate. Let me see here. Well, we got my Red Wings in Anaheim. That seems like a good game to target on the late night slate.
That's always a good game. Play Dominic Kubalik's line. He scores all the time.
Yeah, and just stack it with Terry and Zegras, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a lot of good
Go ahead.
There's a lot of good matchups. There's that Dallas, Tampa Bay, New Jersey, Montreal, Buffalo at home versus Vancouver. Vancouver gives up a lot of goals. And then the Vegas San Jose game, obviously. Vegas they are just playing so good this season. And their defense is lights out too.
Yeah, and San Jose is actually playing better. They're actually getting some shots on goal now. They seem to have a little bit of offense going. They were in a little bit of a shootout with Dallas last week.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. But Dallas, now that team, they are playing some really, really good hockey on both sides of the ice. You know, offense and defense. You know, they're almost scoring 4 goals a game, only giving up 2.5. You know, in going into Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's been losing at home lately. You know, they're win one, they lose one. It's, you know, they haven't been the Tampa Bay that won the Stanley Cup, that's for certain.
No, and they're kind of have a weird feeling, right? Because they seem to be squeaking out a few games, but none of it's really that impressive. They just kind of get these last minute goals. Stamkos, who started the season out super hot, is now ice cold.
Exactly.
He hasn't been doing anything. It's almost like I don't think they have enough depth anymore.
No, they don't. They definitely don't have. I mean, come on, half their team is playing somewhere else now.
Yeah.
You know, and then they get I think their only player that's playing decent right now is Brandon Hagel, the old ex-Blackhawk player. He's been putting the puck in the back of the net lately for them.
Yeah, actually, he's been a pleasant surprise. He's been shooting it a ton, and he's relatively cheap.
Yeah, he did that here. And that, it's kind of funny talking about the cheap guy here. We used to play Lafferty now when he was at like $2,500. He's almost up to like $4,400 to play. It's it's not even a bargain anymore. I'm like, well, geez, that kind of stinks.
DraftKings, I noticed DraftKings last week did a big pricing update.
Yeah,
because I was playing Carter Hart every single night because he was winning and getting tons of shots, always getting that 35 goal save bonus, and they constantly had him at $7,300.
Dang.
He was a must play every night at $7,300. Then all of a sudden, middle of last week, I think it was the Thursday slate, 8,500. It was like, what?
Yeah, I saw you and Doc talking about that on Discord.
Yeah,
about Hart.
Yeah, and I went through and it looked like DraftKings finally did a pricing update and just fixed a whole bunch of stuff they forgot about.
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah. Well, they certainly didn't forget about Lafferty. That was for darn sure. I was like, after we had started playing him, I was like, dang it, they raised the price on him big time.
Yeah, he went up, and then he cooled, and of course his price goes up, he cools off, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. What do you think? So, in my mind, right now, the hottest team in hockey is the Devils.
Yes.
They're scoring a ton of goals. They have two lines that are able to score and shoot a ton of pucks. They're heading into Montreal, who's struggling. They're giving up a ton of shots. They have no defense, so they rely on their goalies completely. And I don't know, 8 out of 10 times their goalies are not that great, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they're giving up 3.2 points a game. Montreal with Jersey going in there scoring almost 4, so that's going to be a great matchup. And yeah, I like to play Jersey a lot. I just like their players. I like Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt.
I was gonna say I love putting Hughes and Bratt just in there, just those two guys, and filling it in with other lineups, and it just seems to be working right now.
And Mercer's been really good. He's pretty cheap. You can get him at like $4,000, and he usually gets in on 3 or 4 shots, and usually gets on the score sheet with a goal or an assist, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think he's actually on the top power play now.
Yeah.
So that's where he's getting his points. He plays third line, but he's on the top power play.
Yep, and been productive there.
Yeah, it's been great. And even Dougie Hamilton, who I'm not a fan of at all, has been contributing.
He did last year. I mean, he had a monster season last year. At the end of the last season, Dougie Hamilton he was getting like 7 shots a game. He was kind of like having a Brett Burns season, from San Jose a couple years ago, when Burns was shooting 8 shots a game, getting assists and a goal every game. I mean, that's kind of what Hamilton's doing.
Yeah, it feels like they adjusted their offense the last few weeks around that. They're just like, okay, let's just sit him at the top, let him blast it at the net, and let's go grab some rebounds.
Exactly, and that's what they've been doing, and it works for them. They score. Yep. They score a lot of goals. Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, so they're fun to watch.
That's a game I'm going to target, especially the Devils. I don't know if I'll run anything back with the Canadians. I mean, Cole Caulfield's always good, but I just have a feeling that Jersey's going to dominate that game.
Yeah, and then that next game up, or 2 games up, that Buffalo, Vancouver hosting Buffalo should be a good one. That top line on Buffalo with Thompson should be a good one. Dahlin's always good to play there.
Yeah.
And then if you can Buffalo seems to give up some goals. And if you want to play Vancouver, because they score, Vancouver does score. JT Miller is gold almost every night. That guy, for some reason, that guy just puts the puck in the back of the net. Him and Bo Horvat. I like both those. I play them all the time. They're not too expensive either.
All right. What do you think of? So Pittsburgh is cooled off a lot.
Oh,
they're ice cold right now, and
Pittsburgh is the top scoring team at home. Still, they average 5 goals a game at home, which is kind of crazy. But
and you have Toronto,
and you got Toronto. They've just been so they've been so underwhelming, man. I mean, they don't even seem to be shooting. I mean, you used to be able to count on Austin Matthews for 8 shots in a game, and he's not averaging that right now. Not even close.
Yeah, I was watching them the other day, and I don't know. They're just off. Their timing's off. I don't know if it's the plays they're setting up, but they don't seem to be making their passes in the zone. They just don't seem to be in the right positions. You'll see a ton of times that Matthews is throwing the puck out, and nobody's there.
Yeah. Well, I think that they're trying to concentrate on their defense. I mean, that was last year. They just gave up so many goals. I mean, they scored 5 every game, but they were giving up 6 every game, or else they were, scoring 5 and giving up 4. They were in a lot of close, high scoring games last season. And I think that they wanted to correct that. And it looks like they're really trying to tighten up their defense a little bit. And then just nobody's there around the net where they need them.
So any major interest in that game, or I think I'm leaning elsewhere.
No, I like I said, I really like, I like Dallas and Tampa. I love New Jersey, just like you do. I'm a big Buffalo, and I like Vegas in that. I mean, so there's 4 solid games to play around. And then if you want to play some cheap guys, you can play your Detroit, some of the Detroit guys out there so you can bulk up some of the top guys.
Yeah, they've been Jekyll and Hyde the last couple of weeks. It's they'll put up 5-6 goals or they'll give up 10. I don't know.
Well, it seems their goal when they play Husso, they seem to play they seem to be more confident with him in the goal. And so that they're scoring a little bit more. It seems like when Husso's not in the net that they tighten up their defense a little bit more and aren't quite as aggressive.
Yeah. When Nedovic is in the net.
Yeah, because he gives up a lot of goals.
Yeah, he hasn't been the goalie I think we were hoping for, the same goalie that took Carolina to the Stanley Cup playoffs 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. But Husso's been great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're a whole different team when he's out there. I mean, you can just see it, the confidence level that they have, and they play their hockey that. But when they have a goalie that they feel like they have to protect a little bit, that they just aren't quite ready to overcome that yet.
All right. Anything else on this slate? Washington, Florida.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Blue Jackets? They've been kind of weird so far this year.
They've been really weird, and then
they just lost.
Right? Well, they just lost Brzezinski. If I'm not mistaken.
I just saw Laine's out for
Laine's out too, but they lost Brzezinski last week, so their defense. I mean, they haven't started out strong, and the injuries are coming. Not going to help. So yeah, I mean, and Philly's one of those teams that can play some of their guys. I really like D'Angelo on the blue line. He's been a good solid one that you can put in there. He's been scoring some goals. He's getting assists and taking a lot of shots. So I mean,
Konecny's been playing great.
Exactly. Really good. Yep.
So they do have one line, that top line's been playing great for Philadelphia. And as we discussed earlier, Carter Hart's been amazing this year.
Yeah. I mean, they don't give up more than 3 goals. They're it's 2.87 goals a game that Philly gives up. So they're well under the 3 goal average where I kind of,
make a John Tortorella team, right?
Exactly. And he's a darn good coach.
Just
really good coach.
Just tough, be tough, play defense, pin people against the boards.
Yep.
Pick your opportunities.
Yep. Be in the right spot. So yeah, that's the, the only big things there. Vegas, we didn't talk too much about Vegas, but they're one good team.
I am so kicking myself for the other night. It was a big slate, like 13 games. I totally went over it. Was the Jack Eichel revenge game in Buffalo?
Oh my God, yes!
And he ended up scoring a hat trick that night. That was the game to stack. It was it was something like 6-5 or something like
Yes. Oh.
that. Man, that took down everything, and I just totally went over it. I just had a brain fart and didn't see it.
Every time that I've been trying to get Eichel in the lineup, he doesn't do anything, and then but they keep winning, But he hasn't been carrying that team. Their defense isn't carrying that team by, a long shot there, and they just, he's an all or nothing kind of guy. But it seems like so far.
Yeah, and they have San Jose coming in tomorrow. Who Hurdle and Meyer have been playing good.
Yeah, but Meyer's been scoring.
Yeah, but they don't seem to really have much defense or much goaltending. So they've been able to kind of stay in games.
Well, they've been playing. They started off really, really slow, and then the last couple of weeks they've been at least, playing, games where the games have been competitive. So, and they can score. They're not, but they're also playing out in California where those teams all give up a lot of goals. They do. Anaheim, LA, San Jose.
Yeah. Anaheim.
Yeah, all three of them.
I love playing those 10 o'clock games, though.
Oh, me too. You know that. We talk about it all the time.
It's so much fun when you're way behind and then you hit those 10 o'clock games and your team just shoots up to the top 10.
Oh, that's the best when you got the right team stacked.
All right, so that's the Tuesday slate. Wednesday, we don't really need to talk about. It's 3 games. We'll do a write-up. So for our listeners, you can find us over at drroto.com. We do write-ups every day that we have 3 or more games, and we do this podcast on Monday nights. We also have a private Discord where you can talk to us directly, and we'll give advice to any of your lineup builds. All right, so let's move on to Thursday's games. Now, this is one of those giant 13-game slates. I'll let you start. Is there a particular game that you see on here that you're going to target right away?
Well, we've talked about both these teams already. Vegas hosting Arizona. I mean, it's just really tough not to.
Kind of a must, right? Start everybody you can against Arizona.
So it's, Arizona's still averaging 3.6 goals they're giving up a game. Vegas is averaging almost 4. Vegas is, if I'm not mistaken, they're better. Yeah, they're about the same. The same as on the road and at home for scoring. So, I like that game for certain. And then, all right. I like there's a late game that has the Red Wings traveling to San Jose, which isn't a bad one either.
No, that'll be a good game for that Kubalik-Perron line.
Exactly, right?
Is you have to figure they'll put Meyer and Hurdle out against Larkin and Raymond.
Yep. Also, another game and a team that's been playing, that's been quietly winning, is the Winnipeg Jets. They host Anaheim on Thursday night. Winnipeg, they're in a playoff position right now. I think that they're top of their division, if I'm not mistaken. They don't give up many goals. And, they average over 3 a game. Anaheim's still giving up 4.5 goals a game. So that's a tough game not to want to play a few guys out of that.
Yeah, and you have Morrissey in defense has been shooting the puck like crazy, and he's got 14 assists to lead the team.
Yeah, and Pionk has been playing really good too.
Yeah, and Pionk has been playing good. And Scheifele's on fire right now. He's got 10 goals and 2 assists to lead the team.
Yeah.
I've been loving Winnipeg. The matchup's got to be right for him.
Right. Well, that's kind of what it is. They don't score a ton of goals, but with the right matchup, they are scoring.
Yeah, and Anaheim's a good one to score against.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That one's that one in Vegas. Those both really kind of jumped off the page. The two big games. It might be a little sneaky. Dallas traveling to Florida. Florida they give up goals right now, and I really like Dallas a lot. Dallas has been. Did I see that? Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is, they score still almost 4 goals a game on the road. They're one of the, top 6 teams of scoring on the road so far this season. And they're not bad. I like Dallas. And people they're not highly owned either. And Tyler Seguin, he actually looks like a superstar again, and maybe not a superstar, but certainly a star.
Well, Pavelski.
Yep.
He's been
that whole. Oh yeah. Pavelski, that top line Hintz and Robertson.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good line to play. I love playing Dallas. And I don't like Dallas, but I like to play Dallas.
So I'm going to throw one out here on this slate that I think will go under owned, and that is the Devils at the Maple Leafs. So do you have the Devils road figures?
Let me see if I have that right here. I do not. Oh yeah, Devils on the road score 4.17 goals a game.
So they're still over 4 goals a game.
Yeah, they're the second best team on the road in scoring. Vegas is number 1 at 4.44. The Devils are second at 4.17 goals a game on the road.
Yeah, and I think just because of the name Toronto, the average player isn't going to play a lot of the Devils. So I think this is a good sneaky spot you can get in. Toronto gives up goals.
Yes, they do.
They're trying to play defense, but they're not successful at it.
No, that's kind of the point. And it's, they're not, they're just not around the net. And hopefully, I think that's not a bad sneaky play there with the Devils. Though, both of us we're kind of sweet on the Devils. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I would definitely play some of that night.
All right, and then we have the Flyers coming into Boston, and Boston's 14-2. I believe that's the best record in hockey right now. They are playing pretty good. They're super expensive, the roster.
Yes.
Especially Pasta the other day was
Pasta's like over $9,000.
Yeah. He might come down on a big slate like this. They tend to balance the salaries out a little bit, but he'll still be the top winger. But man, I could almost see a game stack here with the connecting line, and then follow it up with the Bergeron line and do a little game stack.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
McAvoy is back and has scored 2 goals in his first 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know who else has been really good from the blue line for them is what's it, Clifton or Clifford? Is it Clifton?
Clifton, yeah, Clifton.
Yeah, that guy's been shooting the puck, getting on the score sheet quite often lately. So, I think with McAvoy back, that only helps a young guy like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in Boston, they're one of the best teams at home, the 4th best scoring team at home, almost 4 goals a game at home. What we got here? Philly. Yeah, Philly. They, like I say, they haven't been scoring, but all their goals come from the same guys, so you can stack them, and like I say, yeah, you can stack them, and it's a good play. They'll be low owned that night, that's for certain.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And I don't know. Do you have Boston's goals against? Because I think they're pretty much just outscoring outscoring teams.
Yeah, they are, because I have their goals against here, but I don't have it broken down home and away. I only have the top guys, but they only give up 2.19 goals a game on so far in the season. I mean, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not giving up hardly any. So, it's four. Yeah, but it does. They do play better when they have Allmark in the net. I've noticed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the wrap on Boston there.
What's your feeling about the Islanders?
The Islanders,
I just feel like they're frauds.
They're not, though. The Islanders are. That was one game I thought you might bring up tonight on Thursday. They're in Nashville. Islanders still average almost 3.5 goals a game. You just got to play the right guys from them. Noah Dobson has just been on fire from the blue line for him. He scored, if I'm not mistaken, I think he got another goal tonight. They're better than you think. That's what I think. I don't think they're as fraudulent as you think they are.
Well, I can tell you Nashville is terrible.
That's what exactly. Nashville stinks. But I like the Islanders going into Nashville there. That's not a bad one where you stack the second line there. Play Anders Lee and his buddies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Dobson's one of those, like, if I can get Dahlin and Dobson in on the blue line and all my lineups, I am a super happy man. Yeah, because
Dobson, he was just a kick pick the other night, and he scored again that night. Tonight I put what's his name? Rasmus Anderson from Calgary, and he's already got an assist I saw too. So the kick picks have been on. I've figured out the blue liners, I think.
That's good.
Yeah. Because blue liners are, you don't stack them. Those are always can be just some standalone players. They don't have to be on your best team, or I like to play my same. I play the same blue liners every night if I can.
I try to. Sometimes I'll get a little too cheap on the blue line. Like tonight was a good example of Colorado. If you're gonna put Colorado out there, I mean, you're playing a $2,500 defense.
Well, that's why I had to play Lizette. I had Colorado out there in all my lineups. I had to have a $2,500 guy, and then I also have the Roos from Chicago. Because you're right. Yeah, you had to be really cheap, and that's usually a place where you can be a little cheaper, because those guys, even if they're in, they get a block shot or two here and there. You don't need a whole lot of point. If you get 5 points out of a guy that's at 2,500, you're really happy with that guy. And if you can get an assist, even better.
And that's usually what I do. If I'm down below, somewhere in the 3,000s or something, I just try to find a defenseman who's averaging 2-3 blocks a game.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you need, and they're gonna do it. Most likely.
Yeah, I just need positive points. I hate getting zeros.
Oh, zeros and negative out of your goalie is nothing worse.
The negative out of the goalie is the worst.
And it's even worse than they get pulled, and they've got the 4 goals already. They're negative 4.9, and
that's terrible.
And it happens
when they give up 4 goals on 6 shots.
Yeah, and you're just going, oh man, keep them in, but they're not going to keep them in because you just want to get positive.
Yeah, exactly. Just get me to 0.
Exactly.
All right, why don't you pick another one here?
Let's see, another interesting game. The Rangers in Seattle. Seattle's been playing surprisingly well this season. They're in a playoff spot right now. If the playoffs were to start today, Seattle would be in. They score a lot of goals. They're fun to play. Some of their guys can get them really cheap too. And then the Rangers, you can always Panarin's always a solid play. You can never go wrong there as far as I'm concerned. And especially going into Seattle, I think
Yeah,
that's
it
a good
looks like
matchup.
Burakovsky is now the point leader in Seattle.
Yes, well, that's exactly who should be. He's their best player by far and away. He's definitely the most talented and's got the most experience of most of those guys.
Yeah, he's been playing really good.
Yeah.
And then Panarin. God, Panarin's playing so good this year.
Right? I mean, it's just
he got 5 goals, 17 assists.
Yeah.
Already this year.
Yeah, that guy, he knows how to hand out the puck, and if he starts shooting, he's going to start scoring more. And that's he could have 100 points this season.
Oh yeah,
very possible. Yeah.
Kreider has come back down to earth after his great season last year, which I kind of expected. That was kind of a phenomenon last year. Because he's a camp out in front of the goal, Thomas Holmstrom type of player.
He's like Dino Ciccarelli used to play.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't expect him to be consistently at the top like he was last year. Zibanejad's still playing pretty good.
But he's all or nothing. He's either he scores 5 goals in a game or he doesn't score any. It's just.
Well, and this is where I'm really liking the Panarin line, because they've been trying to. They can't figure out that third player up on that top line to play with Zibanejad.
Right.
So they've tried Kakko up there, but now that Heedle's back, they've dropped him down to the third line. And they just keep trying all these players, and they just can't seem to get the right chemistry there. So Panarin seems to be the most consistent of all of them.
Yeah, they're just waiting for them to trade Patrick Kane there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, it'll take some time. Right now, the Blackhawks are playing way better than anybody thought they would. That's for darn sure.
Yeah,
so and it's and as long as they're playing decent, they're not gonna ship them off. Because having Kane around, having a guy like Kane Tays around for as long as you can around these younger players is only going to be a good influence. There's you're only going to be a better hockey player if you're playing with those two guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so I just think the Blackhawks, they're hoping to keep them around as long as they can and trade them or, trade them when they have to. And or they do get the right deal.
Yeah, and I think they're playing well. He's playing well. That only raises his stock, right? And he's got no trade clause, so he basically gets to pick his team.
Yeah, exactly. And he would only go to a contender. He would love to go to the Rangers. Him and Panarin were magic when they were together. When Panarin came over from Russia, he says, "Yeah, I want to go play with that Patrick Kane guy." I mean, that's and those two they were magic. So it would be a good trade for New York if it possibly comes down.
All right. Any last thoughts on Thursday night?
No, that's about, it's Thursday so far away too. So it's sometimes tough to, make calls on, but you can tell on some games, so that's for certain. But yeah, nothing extra that I would add in right now.
All right. Well, I don't, and like you said, everything else is just too far out. There's only one game on Friday.
Yeah, so there won't be a write-up on Friday unless you want to do a showdown.
Saturday is a giant slate. Way too early to break that down.
Yeah.
All right. So, any last thoughts about this week?
Nope. Just excited to actually, now that we've discussed this, it's more fun going in, have a little more knowledge on write-ups this week. It's always It makes a huge difference writing them up after we've already discussed them. I'm like, oh, we've already talked about all this. This is easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't have to do a whole lot of the homework.
Right, and you get a feeling where we each are on different lines, and
yep,
and, it kind of helps you realize a few things, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And that rolls us right into, if you subscribe to drroto.com, we have a private Discord. We're there. We can do the same kind of discussion with you right in there and help you figure out your lineups. So head over to drroto.com, sign up. There's a bunch of specials right now that you can hit on the website. Any last thoughts?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week. Probably an hour earlier, hopefully next week.
All good.
All right. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking